Alright guys, welcome in. I'm very excited about this. This is something new deck. I've never really talked about Morgan before. I've never really shown a Morgan deck. I've only been doing Jill, Neuro, and Feline lately, so very excited to show this deck, so let's get into it. So it's a Shadowblade deck, Shadowblade, and let's take a look. Okay, so you got, this deck kind of is a growth blade deck. On Twitter and Reddit, I put up a poll. This deck won out, or this style of deck won out, so I created this one. It's about the 5th iteration of the Growth Blade deck, but this is the one I've seen to be the most consistent with. I went on a 12-2 run, and then another 10-2 run later, a couple days later. But let's get into it. So you have 2 Foresight, and that just draws 1 card to the X pocket. A Splendid Buffet. Deals X plus 2 damage to the enemy unit, where X is the number of cards in both players' EX pocket. That's why I use Foresight, and also I use it for, you'll see Dante down there later. Uncanny Chill is a new card. It's very good, especially for growth. Gives a friendly unit 3 HP. If the unit has growth, it also gains 3 growth points. So that's very good for this deck. Every growth unit in this deck is 3 growth points. Cliff-Off Roots, growth 3 at level 2, it does damage equal to own attack to a random enemy unit, and you gain that life back. So there's no attack buffs in this deck, so it's always going to be 2. So I use it as like a chip damage and a little bit of health here and there. I run that at 2. 2 Catch-a-Watches, growth 3 at level 2, it gains flight, and at level 3 it inflicts halt on a random enemy unit for 13 seconds, which is very good, especially with things like Shara Zafalda running around there, the new Metsu Soryuken, agility decks, anything that runs agility. It's really good to slow them down. I run 3 Dulcimes. He's a growth 3. At level 2, he deals 1 damage to a random enemy unit, and at level 3, he does 3 damage to a random enemy unit. So if you get him to max, you're doing 4 chip damage on the board. And this deck is all about chipping and taking away enemy life and using your bigger units to do it and getting life back in the process. 3 Palomus, it's flight and ascended, gains agility and halt the unit in front for 13 seconds. So as you can see, I'm going with a little bit of halt here to slow the enemy down. Again, things like Shara Evalda and things like that, the bigger threats, I'm trying to stop and slow them down and then chip away at them. I run 2 Frost Walrus. He's a new card. He's a machine, growth 3, gain 1 attack and spillover, so it becomes a 2/6. And at level 3, he gains 3 HP and halt the unit in front for 13 seconds. So it becomes a 2/9 and halts the unit in front with spillover as well. Very good card for this deck. I only run 1 Demonic Intimidation. I've seen people run it at 2. I run it at 1. It just returns the enemy unit that costs 4 or less to the AX pocket. Against black units, you can use this against Gate, removing Gate when he's up to big damage. Sometimes you'll see like Nergigante bump up the units with Spike Dive Bomb. He'll bump them up to be like a big finisher. You can always bounce those back because it's usually the lesser cost units. Unforeseen Interference, I run 2. Negates an action card that costs 3 or less MP. Basic. I run 2 Growth Dantes that are 5 MP. Growth 3 at level 2, he gains combo, and at level 3, he gains +3/+4. So he becomes a 4/11 with combo at max level. And then I run some 6 MP units to fully proc some of my growth units. Devil Hunter Dante, really good in this deck, really good in this meta, really good, period. Agility and at Resonate, he turns into Devil Trigger Dante, which is a 4/7, and he has flight and agility. Really good. Innocent Desire Lilith. I love this card when she first came out, but she was a little bit weaker with that 1 attack. She was a lot more vulnerable to things. But they gave her a little bit of a buff in the balance change and gave her +1 attack, which makes her a lot more playable in my opinion. She has flight at growth 3. She deals 3 damage to a random enemy unit and you gain that life. At level 3, she does 5 damage to a random enemy unit and you gain that life. And at level 4, she does 7 damage and you gain that life back. That combined with Uncanny Chill, you can almost get her, a majority of games, you can get her to max and you'll gain 15 health back and deal 15 random damage on the board. Another new unit in here is Beguiling Empress Neven. She has shield and spillover, and when an enemy unit dies, she gains plus 2 HP, which is really good in this deck because you're chipping, hit them with Shadowblade, they're dead, and you take over, or chip, hit them with Lilith, they're dead. You get 2 HP. At memory 4, she deals 4 damage to the enemy in front, and your hero gains that life back. So you can kind of see where I'm going with this deck. I'm going with a little bit of halt, a little bit of life growth. Like, we're going with it. Also, she's sick, so you drop Dante, you wait 1 second, or wait till you get 1 more MP back up at max MP, and then you drop Neven or Lilith. Dante's maxed out, you're good to go. The other unit I run is Tigrex. He has Rush, Agility, Spillover, and the little downside to him, but it's not really a downside, if you use if it resonates, it seals itself. You run that, like I said, you could drop Dalsim, they drop a unit or 2, you wait till 10 or 7 more MP, or you at full MP and you drop a growth unit, and then Tigrex, and it's just, you use him to proc growth units right away and also get a ton of damage in or take out a beater in the process. And the very last card I used is Brainwash. It seizes control of an enemy unit. It's not as good as it used to be because there's a lot of outs of it. Red has outs, green has outs, black has outs, purple has its own outs of it. But you know what? It's still usable. I've used it to steal things like Hutzels, or I've even stolen Tyrants, things like that. Just use them in a pinch to make the enemy have to remove a big beater on their own board to deal with it, or you take it. So again, that's the deck. Let's take a look over at some games. After we do some quick game commentary, we'll do a little bit of hand commentary again, and that'll be it. So that's this deck. Hopefully you guys like it. I don't think it's not tier 1 or 2. I'd probably say it's about tier 3. It does have matchup problems. We'll go over that in a little bit, but yeah, let's go check out some games. All right, this first game here is against Blazing Wall. So it is a little bit of a matchup problem with the agility because your deck runs a little bit slower, but let's see how this one goes. So again, this deck runs slower, so you're going to take some damage in the beginning, but don't worry, you have things like Shadowblade and Qliphoth Roots and Lilith and all that health gain stuff back, Neven. So I'm just waiting it out at this point. So I wait till I have full, and he shows he's a machine, so I start going. As you can see how I dropped Dalsim and then Lilith right away, and I gain the field. And I drop Palamu right over the top, and we're just going to roll because I want to proc Lilith's ability. She removed Penguin, and we're just going now. He's going to try to chip at me some damage, and as you can see, I've taken some hits, but I'm at full health. I decided to bounce his 1 unit back, and I know Dalsim's going to take care of the rest, but he uses Blazing Wall, which is not a problem because I'm going to Shadowblade it as soon as I break the shield. And here I'm kind of stuck. There's nothing I can really do except watch Lilith pretty much die at this point. So I have no way around it. And he happens to hit the Qliphoth Root as soon as I drop. And as you can see, I dropped Tigrex. I've got my chip damage, and we're going. And Tigrex is pretty much just going to end the game, but he axles. And I decide I'm just going to use Palamu real quick. I don't want him to turn into a Tigrex. I could change the tides. And he ends up surrendering. I was trying to get my HP up, or my AP up, to do the Shadowblade and pretty much remove his Palamu, but he surrendered. Next game is a similar type mirror match. It might not be growth, it might be 4s, but it's a Shadowblade match. So this hand's really good. I got 2 growth units, and then I have a Tigrex, so I could put a growth unit out and instantly proc it to max once I get 10 HP. So what I want to do is I want to wait for them to drop their unit and then go from there. So she drops Frost Walrus, so I decide I'm going to drop Frost and then counter his and then use Tigrex in the process. She ascends with Oro, which kind of slows down my Tigrex, but I have a Splendid Buffet. And so there goes Oro. And our Frost Walruses are basically going to cancel each other out unless they ascend over the top. And then I growth Dalsim to get chip damage, and then I use Shadowblade to remove everything, and I have field control. She's going to bounce Dalsim, which is fine, because now I can use them again. I cancel it out. I'm trying to use some actions in case I pull an even, just so I have enough actions, and I don't want them getting health back. I do not want the chip and then the removal. So right now I'm saving up for Lilith, and she drops her own even. So I'm at 10, so I drop Lilith and another Walrus. And I can kind of just sit here right now and chip. I can use Uncanny Chill if I wanted to. And I don't know why they didn't take Lilith. They take Frost Rose, so I'm going to use... I could basically drop a unit at this point. But I'm going to use Uncanny Chill to get him down. And then I'm going to drop a unit down. And that's the field. That's the game. Again, I don't know why they didn't take Lilith. I would have took Lilith with that choice and then hit him with something else. But here's Chun. It's a Kyosho deck, so it's probably going to be all shields. So I was actually, I mulliganed that hand because I wanted to get Brainwash, because I wanted to take one of their bigger units, because I know Chuns usually play a ton of shields and HP or MP units, and they ascend over the top with a big unit. So I was hoping for that, but I didn't get it. But I got Dante, so I'm going to slowly power him up. If I have to drop a Palamu to power him up, I'm going to power him up. They're going for a big shield, so I decide I'm going to bounce one of the units. When I bounce one of the layers, I'm in. I growth Dante to max 2, so I can remove another unit. And I can tell that if I can get over the top with Flight, this is going to be good. So if I have to ascend a Palamu, I'm going to send it, but I'm going to try to get some chip damage around. Of course, this is nothing but shields. So I'm just waiting, Shadowblade. And then I ascended over the top because I wanted to get over the top. I know there's no more layers, so I can safely fly without unless they seal. But I'm going to let Dante work. He's going to work that top lane. And look, I could use that there because I get 3 HP. But at this point, he's probably just going to cancel out that feline up top because there's another Kyosho or Kakosho. And now I see I have options. I have Neven there, I have Devil Hunter Dante, and I have Tigrex, and I have a growth unit. So I decided to just be aggro, and I'm just going to straight drop Tigrex. And then I just dropped the growth unit just to get some field pressure. Another Kakosho. And I can ascend over the top to finish off that top lane, but I'm just going to save it just in case. And I did ascend it, so oh well, let's go. The last game here is against Raging Demon. Raging Demon is a big problem for this deck. Black in general is a big problem for this deck because it's low cost units. And Black has easily removal for those low cost units, so you have to play this very smart. I have a perfect opening hand. I have a growth unit that's going to chip. I have Tigrex. If I have to, I have Uncanny Chill. I have an Ascend unit to go over the top. Like, we are set to go. So as you can see, just chip right off the bat. His field's non-existent, but he's able to take units out of mine, which is fine. So now we're just chipping. He goes to remove. I'm like, oh, I'm going to use some actions. I don't want to lose the field. So there's a negate, take that. And I'm just waiting. Now, I don't need to grow or anything, but if I want to get unit pressure, I can. I see Kechawacha. I know I can use him to get over the top if I have to. So I drop him anyways. I was trying to time a drop, but it didn't work out that way. He Raging Demons, removes 2. But I'm not in trouble. I have some health gain back, so I'm just sitting here gaining MP. Waiting to take my shot. So I'm just waiting to take my shot. And I see I have a shot here. If I could steal that, the little dog boy. If I steal dog boy, then I'm in good shape. But he does have a chance for removal. He removes it, which is fine. I should have actions enough now for Neven. She could be online. I could chip away. As you can tell, it's still a close game with the health-wise, but I'm trying to make him use as many Ascend units as possible. Luckily, he removes the Dante that had growth. And I can use Uncanny Chill to dodge the spikes. So Dante could at least get one hit in before he's removed. So I'm just saving up MP. This deck's all about saving. I didn't want to drop too many units because, again, destruction is a thing in black, so I wanted to force him to use it at what I can because then I still have Neven in hand. If I get to 9 HP or MP, I have a good shot. I haven't even really used Shadowblade yet, so I have that to use. I'm just setting up here. And like I thought he was going to use Raging Demon, he used Raging Demon. So I could chip here, and it was what I'm going to do. I'm going to chip with Shadowblade and then drop Neven right away. She's on board. She's gained some health. Of course, he has another destruction card in Rebel's Memories. Not a big issue. I still have Dante and Palomu in hand. And Shadowblade on board. So I drop Palomu, trying to bait something out in front of me. And then this is where things get real. I drop Dante. And I decide to send it to the EX pile because I don't want another send unit on the field. And I'm going to Shadowblade. And just let Dante go to work. And again, of course, he has another destruction card, so I'm like, whatever. I'm the one at 30 health, you're at 8. You got a lot of work to do in a minute. So again, I have 2 Uncanny Chills and I have some growth units here. And I see I pull a Lilith, so I'm like, yes, let's go. Of course, he has an Ascend unit, and then he's able to use Raging Demon to remove Lilith. But that's okay. We're going to chip with Palomu to the end. I have time on my side. I don't have to play a card. I don't have to use a hero art. But I play anyways just to block the lane. I didn't have to, but I did anyways. And I'm just going to let time... Oh, right at 1 second, then you win. So there's that. This is the deck, and so I hope you guys like it. We're going to jump over to the hands now. Okay, let's take a look at these hands. Against the Blazing Wall deck, this was the perfect opening hand. I had 2 growth units, or 3 growth units. All could proc each other. I could proc Dante if I needed to right away. I could use Dulcimes to chip right away. I could remove a 4 MP or less, which could come out, and I could also foresight into anything hopefully anything I needed to keep going. But it also would give me hand advantage, which is very important in my opinion in this game. In the mirror match, this is a great opening hand. Fantastic. I have 2 growth units I could play to match what they play. Also, I have Tigrex, which would max that growth unit, so hopefully you wait till 10 MP, drop them both, or if they put something I can remove it right away with Brainwash. I could also Splendid Buffet to chip if I needed to. So another very good, strong, solid opening hand in this deck. Very, very good hand. So in the Chun hand game, again, this is a solid hand. I mulliganed it because I was looking for something bigger, but you could have played Dulcime or Chill first in response, or Frost Walrus, I should say, in response. I have a removal. I also have a negate, and I have a drawing card. So there's everything. You could play this hand perfectly fine and not have an issue with it. I decided I wanted to go for something bigger, but again, this hand is very playable. I got this hand in return, which is, it doesn't look as playable, but it's just as playable. Get Dante big, because you can drop that, a Palomu, and use Uncanny Chill, or you can drop Palamus on top of each other for Ascend to buff Dante up, and you also have Foresight to get a card advantage, use it, and also draw Engine if you need to. So again, I got lucky. I mulliganed into such a strong hand. It could have been worse. And in the last game, there's Raging Demon. Very good opening hand. Could it be better? Yes, because Neven's in there and you only have 1 action. And that 1 action will seal Tigrex if you use them. But I do have a growth unit to chip a Ascend unit right off the bat. And then I could drop Tigrex or Uncanny Chill it. And then I could drop Palomu over the top of him when he's not useful anymore to start doing some chip damage. So overall, I like this deck. I like it a lot. Again, we're just going to look at the opening hand again as I finish off this video. But like, subscribe, tell me how I'm doing. Tell me any improvements you think you need on this. I need on this video or my format. I was very excited about this deck. I'm excited about my next one too. It's a Kokosho Humans deck. Working on it now. But again, this is the 5th iteration of this deck. It takes time. This deck is a little bit more complicated because you do need to play a little bit smarter with the growth. You can't just drop and go. You need to know your matchups, know your opponents. But yeah, it's fun. Again, I don't think it's tier 1. I don't think it's tier 2. It's probably tier 3. It can hang in the meta in there, but it's not going to be overpowered and it's not going to be super dominant. But that's the deck. The QR code and the list will follow again. Again, guys, thank you so much for your support. I'll be coming back next Thursday with another video. Take care.